Hometown highlights all about getting out of Spokane and Coeur d'Alene. We tend to focus a lot on those two areas, the two big cities in our area, but it's also important to get outside those areas and cover the smaller communities and talk about what makes them unique and special. All right, for some context, I'm standing off Highway 2 as you come into Reardan, the baseball field where the school plays right behind me, but off to the right, you mentioned that monument. There is work underway right now to build a monument to a gentleman named Joe E. Mann. He grew up in Reardan, went to high school here back in the 40s, but before then going off and fighting in World War II. He ultimately died in Europe, saving the lives of his fellow soldiers. He's a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, and folks here want to make sure his life and legacy isn't forgotten.
Since it's likely that children will meet cruel enemies, let them hear the stories of brave knights and courageous heroes.
It's that C.S. Lewis quote that inspired Bern Bennett to say something and put it in writing.
Nobody knows what he did or how he grew up here.
Bennett recently wrote a book based on his uncle's life, but long before he put pen to paper, the story began. Here, at a small farmhouse set back from a country road in Reardan, Washington.
There was 9 children altogether. Joe, I believe, was the 5th one down, and they just worked out here on the farm, all of them.
It is a story told for the first time of Private First Class Joe E. Mann.
He just wanted to serve his country.
Joe E. Mann was a Reardan High School football player in the 1940s. He broke his collarbone while playing, but refused to leave the game. Just a few years later, while serving in Europe during World War II as a paratrooper with the 101st Airborne Division, Mann gave his life for his teammates on the battlefield.
When the grenade came in, he screamed, "Grenade!"
On September 18, 1944, Mann, who had been wounded 4 times, refused to leave his fellow soldiers.
His arms were taped down to his sides. He'd been shot 4 times. He was all wounded. He couldn't do much, but he threw himself on the grenade and saved everybody in the foxhole.
Mann would be awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor posthumously in 1945, but nearly 80 years later, many people don't know his story.
If you go to Best Holland, everything is about Joe Mann over there.
A world away from Reardan, Joe Mann is celebrated near the place where he died. Kids study him in school. Restaurants are named in his honor. Memorials stand as a remembrance to his bravery.
It would be Joe's sister that painted this picture from seeing the monument.
And now there is a rallying cry to get Joe Mann's story told here at home.
You'll enter from this side into the memorial.
Reardan Mayor Gail Daniels and local wrestling coach Wayne Terry have committed to sharing Mann's story. They plan to resurrect history in this now empty field.
The Joe Mann and Area Veterans Memorial. That's its title.
Terry wants to instill the importance of flag and country, of service and sacrifice to the next generation. A veteran himself, he wants everyone to know the story of Mann and use it to better serve our local veterans.
I just want them to acknowledge that their freedom, the freedom that we live in, was paid for by someone else.
After 6 years of working on the project, the two recently penned a deal with the local school district to use its land to build the memorial. It's a monumental effort to build a monument, likely more than $1 million in value.
We didn't know what we were doing. We just started making phone calls and involving more people, and the chain of people just kept growing and growing.
The fight to honor Joe Mann's legacy has warriors on all fronts: family, veterans, politicians, writers, all hoping to complete the same mission.
He saved a lot of people that day.
Mann lost his ability to use his voice all those years ago, but there are others who are now willing to speak for him, others willing to propel him into the future. Now it's their hope that people will be there to listen and learn about Private First Class Joe E. Mann. We mentioned in that story the effort to build the monument is quite costly, likely more than $1 million. If you would like to help with that effort, the people here would certainly appreciate that. You could find this story on our website, KREM.com. You can also just text us the word HELP to 509-448-2000, and we'll send that information directly to your phone.